Alpha Labs, Sector 4, seals and prepares shipments of processed hydrogen fuel for dropship distribution to UAC bases and subspace platforms. The system is fully automated and personnel access is limited due to open machinery hazards.
Marine, I was able to locate your position.
Warcom systems are beginning to malfunction and shut down. Massive service disruptions throughout the entire base.
I don't know how long I'll be able to track you.
Bravo team has just entered the end front. Pick up the pace. You aren't far behind.
Alright, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with some more Doom 3 goodness. We are in Sector 4 of the Alpha Labs, and immediately upon arrival, we get to see a gentleman.
Hey you! Can you help me? I'm trapped in here. Release the door locks and get me out.
So, we meet a crossroads at the very start of the level. We can either activate the chamber, which basically crushes this guy. It effectively removes all of the flesh off of his skin, leaving nothing but a skeleton. And in the process of doing this, that will spawn two enemies, which I'm not going to be killing for this playthrough. Because honestly, it's far more beneficial if you just open up the chamber, because you get some pretty cool stuff out of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, I apologize to anyone who wanted to see me get all of the kills, but it's just, there are things available in a certain room. Because there's a keypad over there, and I don't think there exists a code that can be used to unlock said door without saving this guy. So, yeah, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it.
Thanks for getting me out of there. I got trapped in the chamber when the power went out. I don't know what's going on here. I don't understand why none of the systems are responding. I'm going to try to get an uplink into the main system from here. This is a secure terminal. I might be able to get a connection. I'm going to stay here. I can lock the door after you leave. I think I'll be safe.
Very well, laddie. First of all, I'd like to call to attention this video disc over here, which gives you a briefing on the Mach 2 chain gun. So if you missed all three chain guns from the previous levels which we had picked up, you can get a fourth one here, and a video that tells you how the chain gun functions and why it's superior firepower. We're definitely going to be using this weapon a lot in this level, simply because there's going to be a lot more ammo provided for it. And let's just go ahead and disable the security lock so that way we can pick up a little extra ammo. Also, this PDA, which belongs to a Mr. Michael Abrams. This PDA will not become relevant for a long time, but I advise you pick it up, simply because it contains a code that allows you to get something really, really good. So, just hold on to it. For the time being, however, we have things that we need to shoot with our chain gun involving, first of all, this imp right behind the door. And above that little balcony over there, we're gonna switch back to our machine gun simply because the chain gun's just not adequate for long-distance combat. As I'm sure I've stressed before, it's strictly a close-range weapon. You want to do it in close range, get down and dirty with them Z-Secs, and that's how we're gonna do it. So there's also a shotgun around that corner over there. I may be able to kill with my pistol simply because he's not in the best position. I don't know if he can actually hit me from here, but just wait for him to lean out. There we are. And that takes care of that. Running forward in this room can be a little bit scary simply because suddenly there's just another giant swarm of spiders. We were introduced to the spiders not too long ago and they're still pretty terrifying. And this level contains quite a number of them as well. So, we're going to be breaking out the machine gun quite often. To those who still think I'm underusing the machine gunnerino, this weapon actually has a name. It's called like the MG88 Enforcer, and MG stands for machine gun, so Machine Gun 88 Enforcer. Superior firepower. And yeah, I'd say that it's a pretty superior weapon compared to most things in this game, simply because they just give you so much ammunition for it. So that was the first wave of spiders. There's gonna be a second wave of spiders as soon as we run up this door over here. And I'm gonna use my chain gun by first running forward and spraying some lead right into these guys. Also, be mindful of that Z-Sec that appears in the closet behind you because he can be pretty terrifying. And we'll be standing over here because there's going to be, I think, like 4 spiders that spawn out of this crawl space. There we are. Everything else just spawns behind you on the ground or the floor, below, so let's just go ahead, clean things up, and you know what, break out our pistol some more, because as I've stated previously, the pistol is actually somewhat relevant when dealing with spiders. Not so much large crowds of them, but it can be kind of fun to break it out once in a while. So this is where that pistol guard was located, and we could find an adrenaline power-up. But we're also gonna kinda waste it because... So unless you, like, really strongly dislike the sounds of a crying baby, it's probably not worth your while heading down this particular junction because nothing exists beyond that door. However, we do suddenly have access to some more cells. Anyhow, let's move on.
Marine, base schematics show all passages out of your area blocked. The only way through is by traversing the EFR, mechanical subsystem with 2 possible routes through it. Activating the system will get you a direct route, but it's dangerous. Extending the service bridges is safer, but the lighting systems are fried. Make a choice. Good luck.
We'll deal with that momentarily, and I will also collect this PDA right now. By Henry Nelson, which is involved in one of the 2 paths that we have a choice of embarking on, but I will be doing things slightly differently. First of all, we're gonna head down to this bottom floor, because there are those 2 imps that spawn, and also some chain gun ammo. And, you know, I think I may actually just use the chain gun a little bit more in this place, because we have a small gauntlet of imps. In specific terms, we have about 6 of them that we need to shoot with our gun. And again, just gonna try and aim for those headshots, try to conserve as many bullets as possible, simply because we want to have chain gun ammo. And we pretty much just get a refill of the entire belt that we just wasted right there. But that little hatch opens up as soon as you clear out that squadron of enemies. And now we have a diverging pathway right here, yet another one. This is a fork in the path where we have a choice between activating the EFR system or extending the service bridge. I'm gonna be making a quick save right here, so I can come back and show off the second route. The first route I'm going to be taking is going to be by extending the service bridge. So, begin with that, and that will spawn 2 security guards behind you. We can kill them with a grenade, simply because grenades are still fantastic. And as Starge has said already over the intercom, the lighting system is fried, and that means they're gonna be spawning a ton more enemies if we take this path in particular, which include those 2 in that closet and some spiders that appear before that particular section of the bridge. I think it's 3 of them. There we are. Break out your trusty grenades once more, and hope your throwing arm is up to date, because we want to toss it right over there, and I didn't need to waste a second one. It's been a few days since I played this level, so I might miss the timing on a couple of things. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you guys, but I am indeed not a robot, and I make mistakes at times. That's just the price I pay. So, let's just finish waiting for all of these spiders to spawn in, suddenly appearing out of nowhere, climb over the ledge, and we shall move on to disturb a very special shotgunner. Like, there's a guy straight around the right corner, and he's kind of my buddy, because unlike the guy on the left who sort of has this, I guess, this fixed position where he has to be forced to take cover, this other guy, he's really indecisive on whether he wants to pursue me or just keep shooting at the wall. And, you know, I could be looking at this all day. I could probably, like, even shoot at him and he'd eventually take notice. It's kind of an odd one. I never really could figure that guy out in particular. Taking this path, however, will spawn a couple of very scary enemies, and by that I mean it spawns 2 maggots. There's one over there, and as soon as you move forward, it spawns one around the corner, and I guess I can kill it with my shotgun through this very tiny shelf. Excellent. Also, I would like to point out that I absolutely love the ambience in this game. That is actually a point of interest that's worth discussing. We're gonna be traversing this very dark ledge, which has a couple of maggot spawns and basically another giant legion of spiders. But I want to go on a bit of a tangent about the music in this game, is that you probably heard, yes indeed, Doom 3 has music. It either plays in cutscenes, there's like the escape menu music, and there's also just the Doom 3 theme, which I think Bethesda plays at their E3 panels every year. Doom 3 really doesn't have much of a soundtrack to speak of apart from that, and the reason behind this is probably because I think they had once had an agreement with Tread Reznor to compose a soundtrack for the game, but they just weren't able to coordinate with each other properly, and I think it had something to do with Doom 3's development time being somewhat stretched out. So in the end, that never came to fruition, but as it stands, Doom 3 really relies a lot more on ambience than it does actual music. And I think it fits the game a whole lot better because of this. If you just, like, go take a peek at the game's files, if you use something like, I don't know, Total Commander or Dragon Unpacker, then you can find just this whole library of ambient sounds, and one of my favorites was back there when we were crossing that bridge. It was just like, I think it's called the Monk Chanting, and I love it. It's just, if you want to play Doom 3, you should really play it for some of the sound design. One aspect of the sound design I do not like is that how there's like only one audio slider and you can't control specific parts of the audio, but god, the ambience in this game is really good. There's just sounds playing anywhere. Let's pick up this armor. Now, some people might say if you're an intelligent person, you should probably hightail it the other direction. However, there is something of interest if you shine your light in this little spooky corridor. Because we can pick up a plasma rifle. Sort of getting a proper introduction to how this weapon works, similar to the introduction to the chain gun from a while ago. We're thrown into a very small room with a whole bunch of imps who are getting lost, as imps typically do. But this is a fun little battle you can partake in. You get plenty of ammo for the plasma gun. We already had a lot stored up previously, so this is pretty beneficial, and there's actually an adrenaline power-up I just managed to pick up right there. And that gives you a general idea of how the plasma gun functions, where it shoots in a perfectly straight direction. One of the few weapons in this game that, you know, actually does that in terms of automatic weapons. The only downside is that the projectiles have travel time, so compared to, I guess, like, its counterpart from classic Doom, it's definitely seen a downgrade, but overall, they give you lots of, on the plus side, compared to the classic Doom games, they give you a ton of ammunition for the plasma rifle. So this could effectively replace the machine gun if that's not your cup of tea, but I'll be using this gun from time to time. For now, I think I'm gonna put it away, simply because it's just very powerful against the selection of enemies that we're coming across. Such as this maggot, like, that would kill him in not very many shots, so it's just, it's a little bit overkill, I guess. I suppose I could use it against the shotgun around the corner, but I want to show him that my shotgun's better. And now we come across the storage cabinet of this level, 064, and the code for this you can find in Henry Nelson's PDA, which we picked up at the crossroads. So if you take the other route, you effectively skip this storage cabinet, and the code is 651. But it is located in an email regarding missing tools because some jackass keeps stealing some maintenance workers' tools and putting them elsewhere, and it's not funny, and he doesn't like that. Anyhow, that's kind of one of the benefits I guess you might obtain from taking the service bridge route, as well as picking up that plasma gun. But on the downside, you kind of have to deal with a lot of spiders. And if you're incredibly squeamish around these enemies, like, these are probably the most unnerving parts about Doom 3, if I were to estimate. It's probably just these spiders, simply because they're icky, they're gooey, and they often appear in swarms. It's just, if spiders make you uncomfortable, well, you should probably take the other route. And the other route in particular, oh, I have some choice words for that one, because, well, to be honest, I hardly ever take that one, but we'll talk more about that later. I should just simply stop rambling and focus more on killing these spiders. Interesting note about the Trites here is that you can actually kill them with a single punch. And the reason that's not a smart idea is because spiders are just horrible enemies, and they'll jump at you all the time. Your melee range with the punches is simply just not good. So there's gonna be a bunch of Z-Secs around that area. I'm just gonna shoot at any explosive barrels I see and sort of hope that I kill them. And I'm really not using this weapon to its intended effect. As you can plainly see, I'm very bad with the machine gun. But there you are. That should be... I think that may have been only 2 zombie security guards. Well, maybe there's a third one over here. I'm not sure if that guy was always there to begin with, if somebody else killed him. But if you run over to this closet, then you can find there's just the guy sitting here. And that is pretty much the end of the service bridge routes. We've reached the point where the crossroads would meet once again, and the level would continue onward as normal, so I am going to load my quick save, and we shall take the other route. Okay, so we've loaded our quick save, and this time we are going to be activating the EFR system, which turns on all of the lights. So yeah, if you want your pathway to be illuminated, then you should probably consider taking the EFR route. However, this definitely is considerably more dangerous compared to the service bridge route. The service bridge route simply had a whole bunch of enemies. This route has first-person parkour over pits that basically kill you. If you jump down here, you die instantly, by the way, which is, you know, great design. I never take this route, simply because I don't really find it's as beneficial. Let's just start the EFR processor right here, spawn a couple of maggots here and there. I really despise the EFR routes. These, like, platforming sections, I guess it just simply has to be a problem that I have with any first-person shooter that attempts to do puzzle platforming in a first-person environment. It's really not a really great combination. Also due to the fact that our jumps are somewhat pitiful. At least we do have a reasonable amount of sprint, and I'm going to be quick saving very often simply because stuff like that happens. Get used to seeing that. And that also justifiably explains the reason behind why I'm taking this route secondly as opposed to doing it first, which I would have preferred if not for the fact that, you know, I'm just gonna be dying a bunch, and then if I wanted to load the game, then I'd have to load, like, the very first save, the autosave that you get at the start of the level, and it's not worth my time. Also, the frame rate drops tremendously in this place. I can't explain the reason behind that, but we just jumped over to the first secret, which I discovered by no-clipping during my adventures. Again, the explanation behind that is simply because I never bother using the EFR processing system or cargo transport system. I don't know what the purpose of the EFR route is. I'm just a guy who shoots guns and occasionally, you know, gets pushed off of things. I'm sure that displays yet another sign as to why I never take this route, simply because stuff like that also happens. It never happened to me the first time, but there you go. Sometimes things change. There is a little set of armor shards down there that I'm not going to bother with. Instead, I'm going to quick save and show you the other secret that I discovered when I was no-clipping. The other secret I discovered when I was no-clipping. Jump on this very tiny spinning tube beam. I guess it's full of... I don't know what it's full of. Maybe it's coolant. Could be anything. Could be some sort of mysterious liquid that probably helps make things run a whole lot more smoothly in this facility. But there you are. That's the second secret. And part of the challenge is actually getting out of here, which involves, first of all, climbing up, crouching so that way you don't get shoved around by that particular beam, and only one of these beams will allow you to time it just right so that way you can get back onto the platform and continue on your merry way. So I'm just gonna kind of hope that I chose the right one. I think I did. I should just be able to jump over there by sprinting. There we are. And the only challenge right here is to just crouch and you'll manage to avoid that obstacle successfully. So that was pretty much the first section of the EFR parkouring route out of the way. So we'll just let this elevator lower real quick. Or this platform. Like, it can be whatever it wants to be. It can be a platform, it can be an elevator, it can be an escalator. And here we come across an imp who dies instantly because we have a pretty awesome machine gun. Also a couple of spiders, but they're spiders. I could probably just kill them with my pistol some more. I think there may be a third one. If not, then I'm just probably gonna move on and hit another button which makes magical things happen. Initiate the magnetic force field! Here's another of my least favorite sections in the whole game, because this is a kind of a tight jump. And once we jump to that platform over there, that's going to spawn 2 imps over on that area, so I'm just gonna kind of hope I don't die. Oh yeah, it also spawns a spider behind you. Spiders are pretty nasty enemies, dude. You don't want to get hit by the freaking spiders, because spiders are nasty. Nasty, lasty, westy. Yeah, there we go. I was very scared I wouldn't make that jump. It's just, oh god, I really cannot stand taking the EFR route. I'm just gonna complain about everything, except this storage area. This storage area is pretty cool because it has chain gun ammunition, ergo, I forgive it for its existence. So, let's just make another quick save, hop back onto our transport, and this section actually isn't as bad. I think the most you have to worry about is just sort of standing in the center and crouching. Another great feature about Doom 3 is utilizing the crouching function, so that way you can avoid being decapitated by moving machinery. Unfortunately, that's also going to cause a bunch of Z-Sex to spawn, but like we have a chain gun, we have explosive barrels. We can pretty much kill everything instantly because we have a chain gun and explosive barrels. And I thought I saw a shotgun over there, but that was actually, you know, just a medkit. Easy mistake to make. Hey, that guy rolled over. That's one thing I didn't really explain, is that sometimes zombie security guards will attempt to dodge your shots after they get hit by something. And that was a fine demonstration of that. So let's just open up that closet again. Have that guy go boom. Pick up these grenades hiding behind these storage boxes, and let's just continue forward. We'll make a final quick save over here. Pick up this adrenaline power-up, and I'm gonna use my plasma rifle against this dude. Hey, buddy, how's it going? Also, this guard around the corner, because he's a weak, pathetic pistol guard. My pistol's better than yours. And hey, look at this! It's Campbell and Swan demonstrating the fine usage of the BFG 9000. And there you are. They're off on a merry adventure, exactly where we need to go as well. So you can probably see where all the spiders have been emerging from. That guy's pretty jiggly. He's just having a blast. He was like, oh my god, did you see? They used the BFG, the best part of the game, woo! Yeah. Amazing. Also, watch out for this imp around the corner. Like, I appreciate how he tries to hit you with his claws, but unfortunately his arms aren't, like, 7 feet long, so he probably would have had an easier time if that were the case. But I believe that is the last normal enemy that we're going to be facing. Stress on the normal enemy of that sentence, because we actually have a boss fight to encounter right here. And it's a rather difficult boss fight, I have to admit. So, let's see who's awaiting us beyond this door. Right, run straight to the right and pick up this adrenaline power up. We're going to be encountering the boss of this level. This is the Vaudry. She uses telekinesis to shoot spiky eggs or other objects at you, and occasionally she'll run up to your face and punch you. And that's the end of the boss fight. I wish that the boss fight would last a little bit longer to give further emphasis on how her attacks work, but in this difficulty, I really do not have a solid strategy on how to avoid her attacks. You're pretty much always going to get hit by whatever these, I guess they're eggs. She flings them at you using telekinesis. She has a melee attack, which is very quick because she could just rush right up to you. And you know, it's 8 legs versus 2 legs. You can easily see why she has the advantage in that situation. And yeah, probably the most difficult boss fight in the game, actually. Like, the remaining bosses really aren't all that bad, but I guess I could talk a bit more about them in detail once we actually encounter them. But there you go, that was Mama Spider. And with that, we can open the bay door, finally exit the Alpha Labs. We're going to be getting to something that's definitely more interesting in the following level, the Enpro facility. So I will see you there.